Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. Today we are going to continue our exploration of the quick measures inside of Power BI and potentially simpler, better ways of doing them, I suppose. Now, if you watched the last video, well, it's been a few videos ago, but I did a video on average per category, better average per category, and that also works for the other, average, variance per category and the other quick measures and that sort of thing. But this one's a little different, so I figured I'd create a separate video for it. So let's dive right in. And first of all, just briefly explain the data model, right? So I've got a dates table. That's a pretty simple calendar table with a month and a month sort, and I added a quarter column, right? So got some dates. I've got a table where I'm just creating a random value for every day of the year. And again, I got my month and my month sort column and all of that sort of fun stuff. I also added a quarter column. Right, and they're simple relation, right? You got a relationship one to many between date and date, easy peasy. All right, so now how you create this, right, is you go into here, you go to new quick measure, and I'll show you. And then so again, what I showed in better average per category, that'll work for variance, max, min. It's the same process, same calculation. Basically, you're just using var xp or max xx or min x, right, for these versus in this case you use average x. But then you get to this weighted average per category, and so here I'm going to choose, so what I did was I created the base value. Now my weighting, what I used was month sort because number and whatever, we need something to put in there. And then I put my month, and then the only difference between the version 1 and the version 2 of this is I used my month from my dates table down here in the category for the 2 version of this. All right, so once you do that, right, you click OK, and you get back, drum roll please, you get back this loveliness, right? So so I'm not going to dive into the entire explanation for all of this. I kind of did that in the average per category. I kind of explained this weird construct, having keep filters not inside of calculates and having this calculate that just wraps the sum and that sort of thing. Sorry, every time I see this, I'm just like, who was the calculate only DAX tryhard that came up with this? It's just like, that's crazy. I can just think about this. Think about this from the perspective of, you're brand new to Power BI. You just got the desktop installed. You got that one single table Excel spreadsheet that you've imported, right? And you're like, oh, I need a weighted average, and there's a cool, weighted, simple quick measure for calculating a weighted average per category. I need that. And then you do it and you get back this, right? I mean, it's like if I saw this as a first time Power BI user, I'd be like, nope, I'm out of here. That's as wide as my eyes get, by the way. No, it kills me, man. And just think about this from I think of a high school teacher. He's like, welcome, freshmen. Today we're going to be learning about physical science. And please open your quantum mechanic books to page 54. So it's like we're just going to skip past acceleration and velocity and force, and we're going to dive right into quantum chaos, and we're going to skip the first 3 chapters. Oh, it just kills me. Yeah, I got to calm down, making myself cry here. All right, so anyway, just to briefly cover this, I mean, obviously they're grabbing and they're using values, which I hate. I have a video on this as well. Don't use values, use distinct. I'm not going to go into all of that, but then they're doing the same thing that they're doing in average per category, except they're doing a sum of the table value and then multiplying by the sum of the month sort, right, within their calculate. And they do the SumX, and they have double the craziness, and they do the same thing with month sort down below, and they divide the 2, and that's all explained in the actual description for when you actually create the measure, right? So when you create that measure and you select it, it tells you, what the calculation is. Calculate a weighted average of the base value for each category. Multiply the value by weight for each category, sum total, and then divide by the sum total of the weight. So that's what this thing's doing, right? Okay, so now, like I said, the only difference between this one and this one is, they're the same. but they shouldn't be the same. This should be dates. Apparently I didn't prep this as well as I should have. And then month sort, and then that, and then enter. Okay, yeah. So anyway, it's still the same. So you can see that no matter what you do, whether it's a single table data model or a star schema, we're getting back this, same values regardless. But, again, similar, there's just a far simpler way of doing this. So if I bring up my better weighted average per category, right? Again, I'm using the summarize here, and I summarize by month, I create a value column, I sum up my table value, I multiply it by my table month sort, and then I create another table variable where I summarize this, the table by month, by value, create a value column and sum by month sort. And then all I have to do is, and I could have done that all within one summarize, actually, technically. But then I divide my SUMX, the table, first table, by the value, by the SUMX of table 1, and that value there. And as you can see, that's this guy right here. I come back with the same answer, right, as over here. Now, where it gets a little different than the one before is when using group by, because there's that one blog article out there that doesn't like summarize. So fine, we'll use group by. So the group by version is a little different because of how group by works. So within group by, when you do when you basically add your aggregation, right? So again, I'm grouping my table by my month. When you do an aggregation, it has to be in the form of an X aggregator across current group. Okay, so I couldn't multiply those two together. I couldn't have SUMX current group table value times SUMX current group table month sort. I have to do it as two separate columns within that summarized table, right? So then the easy solution to that then is I can add a column and I can just multiply those two values together, and away we go. And that's really the only real difference versus having a single group by statement as we did with average per category. And then, obviously I create my table 1 using a group by again, SUMX current group month sort. I divide the SUMX across that table by the value, SUMX across the table by the value. And, again, same answers as before, right? So, and again, this seems far simpler to me to understand what is going on as I covered before versus this. Now, I mean, I understand it from maybe the perspective of this is probably going to be less performant. I didn't really run a bunch of performance tests on it, but it's going to be mildly less performant than the calculate way across large data sets, I imagine. But again, I go back to it's fine to do it the right way, right? It's fine, except that again, these quick measures, if you're doing it, if you need that performance, then you probably have very large data tables, right? And you're going to be optimizing the heck out of that to get to a star schema. You're probably fairly advanced in your career as far as with Power BI and doing things in Power BI, right? I mean, and is that who Quick Measures is really for? Or Quick Measures for advanced DAX pros that know how to do all of these tricks and all of this stuff, and they can read this and make heads or tails of it, right? Or are Quick Measures for people that are new to DAX, and they don't. This is going to make zero sense to them. Whereas I think anyone that is new to DAX can make heads or tails of what's going on here, right? I mean, this is pretty trivial stuff. So I don't know. That's all I have for today. I'm in a weird mood today, but hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch everyone next time.